Hey, Safe Harbor. Good afternoon. I hope everybody's had a really great week this week. And I just want to take a minute and share some of the thoughts I have and one of the highlights of my week. So this morning, I got a phone call from somebody, an old friend, someone my wife and I have known for 32 years, probably, and she had seen a Safe Harbor counselor and just described to me the stress that was in the family life and some blended family issues. And um, she was expressing her gratitude to me for Safe Harbor and the difference that it's made for her. And she said in 3 sessions, the amount of peace in her life and in her home was just dramatically better than it previously was. And she was kind of amazed, that after just 3 sessions that there was so much help. And that just that felt great for me. I mean, I have to say that there are very few things in life that are that meaningful to me than just hearing the difference that we made. And what I said to her, I said, it's interesting. It's a great thing to know. She's a worship leader at her church in front of hundreds of people, and to say, the you that's up there because of the help that you got. If you're just experiencing a little bit more of God's healing, you're just a little bit more joyful, a little bit more at peace than previously. Imagine all the other people that's affecting, when you get up there. And I mean, that's the significance of the work that we do at Safe Harbor. We are a place of hope. We're bringing hope to people like that every day. And I just can't thank you enough for everybody who's watching this for the part that you play in that. And so, I kind of thought about the question, what brings hope? What is it that actually brings hope? And so I wanted to just share a couple of thoughts on that that it's really inviting God's presence and grace into our life every day. Inviting God's presence and grace into our life every day is what brings hope to us. Um, and a couple of these Brennan Manning quotes that I really wanted to share along these lines were that while the imposter draws his identity from past achievements and the adulation of others, the true self claims identity in its belovedness, from Brennan Manning in the book Abba's Child. So it's another way of saying what brings hope is not all the achievements and the applause of other people for things that we might do well and so forth, but it's brings hope knowing that we're beloved of God, that God loves us. Brennan Manning says somewhere else that there's really two kinds of people in the world when it comes down to it, that there are those people who know and absorb and experience day to day the love of God, and those people who don't. And I love this last quote by Brennan. He says, define yourself radically as one beloved by God. This is the true self. Every other identity is illusion. So that's the most central reality to our existence on this earth, is that we're one beloved by God, that's our true self. And for me, that really brings a sense of hope. Um, we all struggle. We all struggle to make space for in our souls to breathe, space to hear God, just space. We all struggle with that. And I just wanted to share on a personal note with that. And I really think that this affects our presence, how we're present with clients, present with God, present with people in our lives. Just being fully present is making that space. And sometimes that requires saying no to some things. Maybe you're cluttering things up a little bit and maybe are interfering with the peace in our souls. And I recently cleared some junk out of my life, some things, said no to some things that had to go. Maybe you've done that before. And what I found that it did was this thing that occupied my mind a lot of the time, having it gone, there was extra space. And I remember literally one day last week, I was sitting at the same desk I'm at right now, and I remember thinking to myself, wow, what am I going to do? I didn't have this thing playing in the background of my mind. And, and I was sitting for a minute thinking what I was going to do next. And I was really quiet, and I noticed there was space there. My soul wasn't so cluttered. And I had this strong sense that I was supposed to call a friend and colleague who owns a faith-based counseling practice in another part of the state. And I thought, there was a deal that I had tried to hook him up with that, honestly felt like he could do it better in his area than we could at Safe Harbor, that we just have a lot of things on our plate, part of trying to keep our souls not so cluttered, and just thinking, wow, he could really bless a lot of people, and this could really be a blessing to him. And so I just kind of played middleman a little bit and tried to connect him with a particular deal. And I thought, I should just call him and check in on that and just see how it's going. So I call him. He goes, Eric, I cannot believe you're calling right now at this moment. I can't believe right now. I had just crafted an email to send, related to this situation, to this other third party that I connected him to. And I was just thinking, I want you to look at this email. So he sends me the email while we're on the phone. And I look at it, and the email is a complete train wreck. It's a total disaster. And I say to him, like, look, there's some issues here. I'm really glad you didn't send this. There's some serious issues. This could have blown the whole thing apart. And he's like, Eric, I can't believe God prompted you at that moment to call me. And just for me, I have to say, when I stepped back from that and was able to see the encouragement, the difference in his life, the difference in all the people's lives that his practice can help, that was, I just sensed God's presence and grace in my life, and the sense of peace was just amazing. And that's really what I hope for all of us, that we have that kind of space to just hear God's voice as we work with clients and just live life in general, but that we have that connection to God that guides us and really adds insight and power to speak to the heart of the matter and really help people in really significant, even more significant ways than we are. So God's presence, it brings hope, it brings peace. And I also think that it brings authenticity, just a sense of being real. I spoke with a pastor this week, and he was just talking about the weight on his soul of all these issues that he's carrying and the pedestal that his church puts him on. And I said to him, I said, I wonder if you interspersed a lot of authenticity into your messages without presenting yourself as like a complete train wreck, because he isn't, but just some authenticity about what the struggle looks like for you, what that would be like. And he was like, it was really interesting. I think this was telling of the struggle inside of all of us. He said, I'm just afraid if I do that, I'm not sure I could hold it together. So think about that. I'm just not sure if I did that I could hold it all together. And I said to him, do you see the incongruence in that? I'm talking to you about being authentic, and you want to present some authenticity about the issues in your heart and soul in a message to move others, but you want to do so in a very inauthentic way. You want to present yourself as all together while your words are being authentic. And that really made him stop and think and ponder some things. I think that that broken people, I want to kind of end with this and share some things. Broken people help us all to become a little bit more authentic. So just a phenomenon that I've noticed, maybe you've noticed this, or you could look, if you're a Facebook social media person, look on the post where your life looks like sunshine and roses, and look at how many likes and comments you get. And then look at some other posts where maybe your life, there's some brokenness, some chinks in the armor that are shared, and look at the response you get there. When I do that, what I notice is I literally get, I don't know, double the likes, double the comments when I share the brokenness and the parts that don't all look so great. So broken people help us all to become a little more authentic. And when we're more authentic, that's where connection with each other, connection with God, an impactful life flows out of that, is out of that authenticity. So those broken people, I just want to encourage us to look at the broken people in our life, that they're not just the recipients of like our goodness, that they're lucky to have somebody as good as us to pour into them. We're lucky to have them in our life to help us to become more authentic. And maybe that's what God's doing in our souls through the broken people that come across our path, is helping us to be truer to the person that God made us to be, and to realize that we're beloved by God, that there isn't this thing we do great that makes us worthy, but that it's because of who God is. He loves us for who we are with the brokenness and all. And so a year ago or so, I want to tell the story of somebody and end with this. And I have an appeal to us of how we can really be an encouragement to somebody. So we had an intake person in our office named Rainier Ramos. A lot of you might remember him. In January, he took a break from Safe Harbor. What a lot of you don't know, and I'm going to try to succinctly tell the story, was like 13 months ago, one of my best friends in the whole world, my friend Jason, came to me and he said, "Hey, I have a friend who is a high-level IT guy, got caught up with the government, got caught up in a whole thing of somebody trying to win a contract, and he accepted some offers for ball games and dinners and rounds of golf at fancy places. And you're not allowed to do that when you're somebody who's a decision maker for a government contract. And so short of it was, he lost his job and was facing possible prison time. And he couldn't even get hired at like Safeway to stock shelves. And so I didn't tell anybody. I mean, Angie knew, but I didn't tell anybody else in the office really what was going on. But Rainier needed a job, and we needed an intake person and an IT person. And so we decided, after meeting him, talking with him, this was a fantastic guy who made some bad decisions, got caught up with a really bad person who didn't have his best interest in mind. And so we gave him, a chance, and we were thrilled we did. And so from May to November, all anybody in our office knew was Rainier was an IT guy and an intake guy for us, and the most positive person in our whole office practically, and was just super helpful to everybody. And then in November, his court date came, and my friend Jason and I were there, and he got sentenced starting in January to 10 months at a prison in Laredo, Pennsylvania. And so so he kept working until January when he had to report. And it came out in our office because somebody saw it like online or something. And we had a big meeting where Rainier told his story. And I have to tell you, I wasn't there in the office, but from what everybody told me afterwards, that was like one of the proudest moments that I've had with Safe Harbor in 23 years of doing this or so. The response of our office staff, let me tell you, the presence and the grace that was in that room was through the roof. And that's who these people are in the office. They just embraced him so much, to the point where every time I talk to Rainier on the phone, because he's allowed to call, or I email him, or I visited him a month ago with my friend Jason, he always says, "Man, I miss the office so much. Those are incredible people. I miss them so much." And so the last thing is, so like I said, I went to visit Rainier with my friend Jason a month ago, and we've been in touch all along. And I have to tell you, just seeing the difference. He's like, Eric, I've connected with God in ways I never had. Um, I know Jesus personally now in my life. There's stuff going on in this prison 5-6 days a week that's spiritually related, and he rattled them off. Mondays this, Tuesdays that, Wednesdays this, and just told Jason and I everything he's learning. We sat there for 4 hours with him, and it felt like about 3 hours 59 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. It felt like about 30 minutes, and for 4 hours we talked about everything, but he just said how much, like, things he's learning spiritually in his relationship with Jesus. It's incredible, the way that story is playing out. And so I just lastly wanted to say, Rainier has, like, what does he have? Another 7 months till December 1st. That's like 6 months that he has. And I just put up on the screen, and we're going to email this to you all too, how to send things to him in person. So he basically sees his family, and Jason and I will go back another time and gets emails on the email system from Jason and I and his family. But I'll tell you, it would make his day. I mean, make his day 100 times over if everybody listening, watching this video could just send him some note of encouragement, something in the mail to this address right here that's on the screen. And we're going to email this to everybody too. But I'm just thinking, there's 200 people that are going to get this email that are part of Safe Harbor. Imagine if every one of us, just one time between now and Thanksgiving, sent him some encouraging note in the mail, just something. And I mean, he would have something every day to open. And I mean, what that does to a person's soul. I mean, talk about hope, bringing hope just by being present in that way. To send him something, it would mean the world to him. And he's somebody who I've just come to respect, to love, and to enjoy. And I just, wow, we couldn't encourage a better brother in Christ than Rainier. And so that's all for today. Going to have lots more encouraging stories, but I just wanted to share that with you all. Thank you for what you're doing to bring hope to so many people's lives. It's a real honor to collaborate and work together the way that we do. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.